Happy Monday, everybody. All right, let's kick it off. Welcome. Sorry this isn't on Monday, but obviously I was out on Monday, and now Hani and I are getting on a plane to go to Atlanta. We're speaking at a conference for law firms. 5,000 people are coming. We've been asked to speak about what makes us special and different. We're part of a panel discussion. And so we're really honored to do that. So there are about 10 of us who are going to be there. Hopefully we'll be able to take the speech and split it up for you guys so you can look at it. It's, I watched the years past speeches. And as I was doing this, preparing for the speech that's going to happen on Friday, I was thinking to myself, I really need to understand what makes us different as a firm, because that's the first question they're going to ask, right? What makes us different as a firm? And so I wanted to really talk about that for a second, because all of us have something unique inside of us. Okay? And if you go back and you look at every great superhero movie, right, it always starts with what? An origin story. And we've talked about this before. But I want you guys to really get to know what your origin story is. Every single person here who's committed to serve other people and committed to helping other people has an origin story. You have something that happened to you in your life that made you who you are. And a lot of times we spend our time trying to hide that from other people. We try and hide those things because they're painful stories. Superman, his origin story is his planet was blown up, right? Wolverine's origin story is he was, this guy who was injected with all this, adamantium and that sort of thing. Spider-Man's origin story, bitten by a radioactive spider, right? Batman's origin story, his parents were killed in front of him. Spider-Man was bullied as a little kid, right? So all of those stories, that's who we are. And so I really want you guys to tap into what your origin story is, because I'm going to talk about this at the conference if I have a chance. Because the first and most important thing you need to do as a human being, before you're an employee, before you're a son or daughter, is you have to understand what your origin story is. My origin story, it's a long origin story, but the first part of my origin story was when I was at a playground and I was 8 or 9 years old, and I watched my sister get bullied by the town bully. And I became overcome and paralyzed with fear. Right? I saw this guy swinging, and he was ramming my sister with a swing on the swing set. It was just us there, and I froze. And then when my sister and I walked home that day, and my mom saw what happened, the bruises on my sister from this bully, she was screaming at me. She says, "You always stand up for your family." And I remember freezing again and having this feeling of paralysis, right? I was paralyzed. And at that moment I said, I'm going to stand up for other people. I'm never going to not stand up for somebody else who can't stand up for themselves. That's my origin story. And that origin story echoes through everything I did in my life. All of you have an origin story. And when you know what your origin story is and you know why you do what you do, you don't need somebody at work to tell you you're doing a good job. You don't need somebody to give you that constant feedback. You don't need a good boyfriend or girlfriend. You don't need the validation from people outside of you, because you have it inside of you, because you know you're accomplishing your purpose. So I want all of you this week while we're gone to be thinking about what your origin story is. And I may call on some of you guys to find out what your origin story is. And before you think I'm doing something to you guys we haven't done, all the managers know their origin stories, right? We drag them out of them when we go on the management retreats. And so we're going to talk about some of those origin stories next week, because I really need to know why you do what you do. And a lot of problems we have would be overcome if you knew who you were and knew what your origin story is. Okay? Your origin story gives you power. It's not a weakness. The fact that I was paralyzed as a 9-year-old kid, that's become a life-changing moment where I'm never paralyzed again. Can you imagine that? Never not knowing what to do, right? I step into action because I remember that kid on a playground thinking, I missed my chance there. I will not miss another chance. So find your origin story.